back from that break. Glad you're still watching Science Breakfast with me, Alan Hubbard, and the sign language interpreter is Gideon Minor. And this is a Political Monday where we get to dissect what is happening politically in the country. If you missed the first half, we spoke about the two top stories this morning. Gachagua calling out the president and saying that he is sponsoring goons to disrupt his rallies in Meru, and also Johnson Sakaja coming out and saying that he is not guilty as he is being accused of mobilizing goons in the Tuesday protest that happened last week. The good professor here is saying that Johnson Sakaja coming out does not make the issue even go away, because those who are guilty, they always show up. But also the conversation that we are saying is that it does not really matter who sponsored the goons, but the big question is, where is the country headed? That a whole state can give some of its power to goons to keep law and order. What happens in situations where the goons decide to take more of that power? And right now we want to look at some of the stories that are making headlines in the dailies. And Prof, the top story in the Standard this morning is rather interesting. And of course, this is in the leading to the 25th marking of the celebrations of the young people that died last year. And the Standard are saying for a long time, Raila Odinga stood out as the voice of the common Kenyan in the face of repressive governments. So it was a surprise that during the height of last year's Gen Z protests, a video of a young woman asking the former prime minister to step aside so the new generation could hold the government accountable went viral. The cost was heavy, with the several Gen Z protesters killed or maimed. But the real shock came when Raila quickly struck a deal with President William Ruto, a move widely seen as a betrayal of the noble cause of good governance he had championed for decades. Today, although the youth continue to push for change, many feel let down. They see Raila as a betrayer of their dream for a new Kenya. Now, the Standard have gone ahead and pictured Raila Odinga in the front as Casmuel is in the back. Did Raila Odinga betray the young people of this country?
I would say no, because...
And you say this because you also have a huge following of young people on the internet.
Yeah.
So whatever you say here might be used against you on the streets of the internet.
I don't have to talk because of my followers. I have to say the truth. Because those
say it as it is.
They have followed me for a long time.
Yeah.
Just because of my independent mind. I am never in anybody's
pocket.
Camp.
Yeah.
I remember when I was going on TV before 2022 election, I told people that we have to put the right question into the ballot. If we put the wrong question in the ballot, we'll get the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I said that let's not ask who has a good manifesto, because I took the Kenya Kwanza manifesto and I took the Azimio manifesto and I put them in a software called Turn It In, and I found that they had a similarity of 98%. That the Kenya Kwanza manifesto and Azimio was 98% similar.
Yeah.
It has come to pass now, even by the fact that Kenya Kwanza and Azimio have come together and they are now speaking the same language, also telling us Adani is a good deal the same way, isn't it? They have told us the issue of Shah. They are just talking the same language generally, which means they were never different. Ideologically, they were not different. I told people, and I think practically it has come to pass. So my followers said, and I told people, in fact, I used this thing. I wrote a book called Solomonic Economics. And I said, I'm neither Rutonomics nor Railanomics. I am Solomonic, meaning I'm independent thinker. So I'll tell Kenyans the truth. So let me just go to the point that I don't see a betrayal. I think that there's some media laziness to just use the terms which have been used before, because it's very easy for people to pick what you are saying.
And also buy the papers.
Yes. You know, betrayal narrative is a very easy narrative. And you know, it's been used a lot because when you say, you're betraying me, people get very emotional. But actually, there might be no betrayal there. You know, betrayal narrative is also good to tell to women. You know, women hate people who betray others. Because also, there's also this thing whereby men tend to betray women. Women are very loving people. Women are very supporting people. Women have instincts even to protect a man. But men have betrayed so many women. They have betrayed their love. For example, a woman loves you when you have nothing. When you become wealthy, you start telling us you're useless. she loves you, then start telling us that now for you, when you get money, start seeing better women, you think that now you want younger, all those kind of things has been there. So betrayal narrative has been used for long, even in the Bible,
And it's easy to sell.
religiously also.
Yeah.
You see Delilah, Samson, you saw in the king, in the palace, there's betrayal. Betrayal has been used even in families, in every area. So it's very easy to understand. But let me tell you the truth. Raila did not betray the Gen Z. Raila took advantage of them. That is not betrayal.
Yeah.
To betray means that we trusted in you to do for us certain things, but you went the other way around. When the young lady told Raila to stay off the street, and they're going to sort out Ruto, they didn't expect Raila to do anything. They just wanted to confront Ruto, bring him down, and take over government.
Yeah.
They didn't mean that Raila was supposed to come in. And coming in was taking advantage. And let's just talk about it this way. Raila and Ruto fought each other in an election which was hotly contested in 2022. Then when Raila lost the election, he called the people to the street. And Raila said that Ruto must leave the office. He gave Ruto notice when he was supposed to go to State House. He called for a grand march. He called for mother of all mothers. But Raila never made any serious progress, especially the fact that Raila left the street with NADCO report only.
Yeah.
What is NADCO report? Nothing. It's not been implemented even. But when the Gen Z went to the street, they brought the government down on the knees.
Yeah.
And by that time, Gen Zs wanted to go further to bring down the Ruto government by entering State House.
State House, yes.
But then Raila cut a deal with Ruto. So he took advantage.
Yeah.
In Spanish, we say aprovechar. Aprovechar is take advantage of somebody. Doesn't mean that you are betraying them.
Yeah.
Just for example, you can kick a ball, then the goalkeeper punch it back to you. It's not a betrayal. Then you just take an advantage of the fact that he has punched the ball directly to you and you score.
Yeah.
Have you seen whereby goalkeepers are trying to dribble the striker, then the striker takes the ball from the goal and then they score? Is it a betrayal?
Talk of Onana.
Yes, Onana. Yes, so it's not a betrayal, it's just taking advantage.
Yeah.
So that's what I see with Raila's case. He took advantage of them. That is bad, of course, because these are young people.
Yeah.
But I can also say one thing, and this is where the Gen Zs maybe need to do it differently. The Gen Zs were supposed to realize that when power falls on the street, the next most organized organization takes advantage. That's what happens. You go to Egypt.
Yeah.
When there was the Arab Spring, the Muslim brothers were the most organized group. Were not the good ones because actually they have not helped Egypt.
Absolutely.
After that,
Yeah.
But even if they were thugs,
They were organized.
they were the most organized group.
And they would have they took it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this time when Gen Zs want to go and confront Ruto, there's a decision they have to make. They are now saying we are coming for you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We want to hang you by 2 p.m. You see, there's a timetable. Have you seen the program?
Yeah.
You see the program?
Absolutely.
End to end.
Yeah.
So by 2 p.m. we should hang Ruto and then take over State House, isn't it? Now, who is going to be the president? Because during the Gen Z protest, I talked to somebody from the military. He's a star general.
Yeah.
And he told me, Professor, if you guys reach Procession Way, that is the time when we shall give policemen will be out and the military will escort you to State House.
Yeah.
But you should have your general. Who is your general? So on 25th, who is their general? If they don't have the general, the military cannot support a amorphous group called leaderless. So Raila was the leader of Azimio, but Gen Z, everybody was a leader, isn't it? So can you crown Gen Z that Gen Zs are leading Kenya?
No.
Can you administer an oath of office to Gen Zs?
No.
Leaderless?
No.
You can't. So that's what Raila saw, that you're leaderless. Yes, let me now take over. So they took advantage. Now with my brother Kasmuel is a brother of mine because we were with him. I'm sure you have seen him being arrested with him severally.
Yeah.
My brother Kasmuel did not betray the Gen Z. Because what role was Kasmuel doing? Were they in his payroll? Were they paying taxes to him? What support were they giving him? Not much. But there's something Gen Z did to him.
Yeah.
Gen Z's propelled his social media. Remember, he had a big followers on social media, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. He was trending. Whenever Kasmuel emerged in the scene, he was
There was some
authoritative.
aura.
Yeah, he had some aura. In Luo we call it Mbi. Mbi.
Yeah.
He had some Juogi, that spirit
Yeah.
was running around him.
Yeah.
But then what happened, he made a mistake. He didn't realize it. So the opportunity he had, he's the one who lost it. So Caswell didn't blame him, but he just lost that opportunity. That I can call it, because he can't get back there.
Yeah.
The vibe he had, the brand he's built, names started coming up, the new Tom Boyer, isn't it? You understand those names?
The
I think you had them.
suits, yeah, the suits, the hair. And,
Yes, so those things. There was a lot of things that, what is happening that sometimes you can have a very big opportunity that blindfolds you.
And you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, so the future of Caswell was too bright that he blew up his eyes. He couldn't see the future because it was too bright. You know, when the lights are too bright, you can't see the future.
Yeah.
So his future became too bright for him to see. And then he ran for a little thing called standing next to Raila Odinga. That's why they're in the same headline.
Yeah.
And I think just like Raila is just like Raila is diminishing now, he's also diminishing. But had he went with the wave, if Caswell was still on the wave, what could he be now? Imagine. But immediately he went Raila Odinga and follow him. Now, anytime Caswell comes to the stage, he has to defend why he's not in the street. He has to defend. He has been seen with Ruto. He has shaken hands. He has pleased Ruto. He has pleased Raila. This is the common enemy. He used to sing song Ruto ni Mwizi, Sivyo. We sang those songs with him. We sang all the Ukombozi songs.
Yeah.
For me, my cells, my genes cannot entertain working with this current government. I can tell you, Alan, when the people from Siaya went to State House, a key person from Siaya called me and told me, Professor, we can't say Siaya people are in State House if you are not there. Let's go to State House. We shall ask the president to give you a job. I told them, if I can go to bed knowing I'm working for this government, I can wake up dead. So I can't go. Literally, for me, it's just about my belief. I believe, I live my life the way I believe. So if you have to change my behavior, change my belief. So if I believe that it is one term, if I believe it is half term, if you don't change that belief, there's no way I can join someone who is half term.
Yeah.
And there's no way I can join a one term. And I want to take this chance again to tell the president that you telling us you cannot be one term, you are breaking the law. Because the Constitution doesn't give anybody two terms. The Constitution, you are sworn in for one term.
Yeah.
Then it's only after that one term
that people decide.
You can ask for a second term, depending on how you perform with the first term. So focus on what you are doing with this term. And to the Gen Z, let me give them some advice, just like a brother.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you can call a bigger brother, because we are not age mates. I'm not a Gen Z.
Yeah.
What they need to do is to look at what were other revolutions that succeeded. And I know we have done this generation from Gen Xs, Millennials, Gen Zs, and the rest. Let's use the Gen Z, the generation according to Kenya. Forget about the global one, because that's very global.
Yeah. Because
we have Gen Zs in the US, in UK, and the rest. In Kenya, generation starts with first, the generation called Mau Mau generation. Those are the people who went to the street and said that Mzungu aende Ulaya, Mwafrika apate uhuru. That's Mau Mau generation.
Yeah.
The second generation of that, we call them Uhuru generation. They're the people who took up now independence and ran with it. They have eaten everything now. For 62 years, they have eaten. Raila Odinga is part of it.
Yeah.
So Uhuru Kenyatta's family, Moi, and all those other families, those are what I call Uhuru generation.
Yeah.
The third generation is called Saba generation. This is where Timothy Njoya comes in, guitarists, the guy like James Kariuki, those people, James Orengo, Anyang' Nyong, you name them. I'm sure I don't want to mention them because I might not mention all. Some people might be annoyed.
Yeah.
But those I call them Saba generation, who went and asked for two things. And I want Gen Zs to learn from Saba generation, not the rest. Saba generation identified two things that if you do, Moi will go home. And they said, one, Section 2A should be amended to allow for multi-party. Two, they said we must have a new constitution. They knew these two things will change the system. Like I told you, working for the system, working on the system, working against the system. So this was working against the system, because the system was kanuni baba na mama. They changed it to multi-party system. Now we have 48 political parties, if not more.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Now again, we have a constitution that actually has given them right to go. So this generation of Gen Zs, I call them constitutional generation, generation of COC 2010.
Yeah.
They are the people who benefit from Kibaki education. They also benefit too to the constitution that gives a lot of human rights. Because if we were using the older constitution, these people could just shoot you and you have nothing to do. They could arrest you and detain you for 50 years. Nyayo Chamber torture houses cannot survive with this constitution. There's a case called habeas corpus, that if you disappear, we cannot tell where you are, the state must produce you. Those was never there before. You could disappear and never seen. Like Ochuka was taken and was buried in committee, and the family do not know. In fact, the family of Ochuka still look for his body. How do you kill me, even if I was a criminal, and even bury me in a prison? Which means even my soul is in prison. My soul should be in heaven, you understand? So I'm trying to say that these people need to identify two things. Chanting Ruto must go, chanting one term, and chanting half term is ideologically good, but fundamentally, it should be pegged to one thing. What do you want to be done so that we can have one term? The Saba people said, Article 2A, isn't it? You, which article? We came up with one article for us at Concerned Citizens by saying we should amend the Constitution to allow citizens to recall the president directly without passing through Parliament. And we call the rallying call Hakuna Madaraka Bila Mamlaka. Hakuna Madaraka Bila Mamlaka means you cannot be able to say you are independent if you have no powers to decide on your education system, in your health system, in your tax policy, in your economic direction, in how the society operates, rule of law. So if the citizens have got the powers to supervise, oversight, and punish the president directly without passing through Parliament, because this Parliament is a scam. There's nothing they know. Because when the finance bill was being put, they debated and passed it. And when the president refused to sign it, they clapped. When we said Adani deal was bad, they passed it. When the president rejected it, they gave him a standing ovation. So they have no head of their own. They do not know what legislature should be doing. So I'm asking the Gen Z, if we can agree on one or two things, that if done, this guy will be one term. At the same time, I was talking to my friend Ndego Njiru. I think that next time we'll have to invite him. He also hear his mind. He says that we cannot reform this system when Ruto is there. So the call for one term means that we cannot be able to reform him because he believes that everything there is the constitution. Do you know that? By the way, I agree with him partially. Because this country should not be run as guesswork. We have 3 governance manuals. 1 is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. 2, we have laws of Kenya made in Parliament. And 3, we have the policies made in ministries. They tell you in detail how to do a finance bill, how to do taxations, how to run a government, how to provide healthcare. Everything is there. So the only thing we have one enemy. There's a virus called William Samoei Ruto.
And that virus must go.
Which has to leave, plus every other children he has given birth to. So the call to remove William Ruto is not just William Ruto. It's plus everybody who believes in his ideology also must be uprooted, and then they must be taken somewhere, and then they have to learn how to run the country when now other people are in charge. So basically, the Gen Zs were not betrayed, I said. People took advantage of them. Caswell didn't betray them. It is Caswell who lost an opportunity. So instead of Gen Zs saying Caswell betrayed them, they should ask themselves, the gap left by Caswell,
who can fill it? Who
can fill it? Instead of looking at Caswell as a betrayer. Caswell is really enjoying being an ODM. Let him enjoy. Maybe that's what he wanted. You know, sometimes people have what's called poverty of vision. You might think just walking next to these ODM people is useful. If that was useful, I could be walking next to them. But I believe that the solution is not in ODM. The solution is not with Kenya Kwanza either. The solution is with many Kenyans who understand exactly what they want. And Kenyans just need a leader who can listen to them so that they can be able to move forward. Because I have a mantra called listen, tweak, and evolve. which means listen to people. After listening to them, really change how you want to do things. Then after you change, you become somebody else. Like if William Ruto came to Kenya as a president, even if he didn't know anything,
Yeah.
and the Kenyan told him, there's a woman who told him in Migori, Mr. President, Rudisha Linda Mama, let SHA work. We don't even want affordable housing fast. Let SHA work. Because SHA is having problems for people every day. If he listened to that, he came to Nairobi and said, let's constitute a cabinet and say, now let us do a budget 2025, 2026, according to what Kenyans want, isn't it? It could work. But instead of increasing budget on healthcare, he has increased budget on state house.
Defense.
On defense.
And actually, the Daily Nation this morning are reporting an increase in another 800, close to 800, 900 million for renovation.
Yeah,
for
so
State House.
simply, he does not listen.
Yeah.
He does not tweak his ideas and does not involve. He came with bottom up, he's still talking about it. He came with Mama Mboga, Hustler. People have moved on from those nonsense.
Yeah.
He's still stuck with them. He's still talking about affordable housing. Nobody wants it. And I can tell the Luo Nation why I'm so disappointed with Raila Odinga is one fundamental thing. That in the year 1985, Robert Ouko went to South Africa, got a farm, a company,
Yeah.
that was supposed to construct a molasses plant in Kisumu. That's where the 400 acre that Raila gave 500 from is coming from. And he said, Luos don't need houses. Luos need a factory, a company to employ them, to earn their own money. Then whether you want to marry more women, do what you want. You want to build a house, build a house. You want to drink changa, kunywa changa. But you have money to do what you want, isn't it? Then Raila Odinga, in 2025, which means 40 years later, is taking us to what we saw was wrong in the year 1985. I had people saying Raila Odinga is brilliant. I don't have a problem with that, isn't it? But intelligence must produce a fruit. A tree is only known by the fruit it produces. So I'm asking Luos, which fruit is this that they're producing? Now he's telling them, kumi bila break, because they are in government, isn't it? Which means ranks is important. Raila Odinga is now addressing the cabinet. I had them celebrating. Now, after addressing the cabinet, healthcare, education, poverty level is not working. Ranks should bring development, not rank for its own sake.
Yeah.
But for example, the worst case is that now they are taking a rank at the expense of development and human rights, because they're in Karen. All of them were in Karen preaching about Adani. No one talked about Ojwang's death. No one talks about Kamau's death. Even the Kamau situation, the guy who was shot on the street.
Yeah.
They just give a blanket statement because of you and I can't mention because he will be kicked out of cabinet. You saw Gladys Wanga's husband
being kicked away out of...
just because of some post from Gladys Wanga. Maybe that's what I saw was the explanation. I've not seen any other explanation. So we cannot be able to close our eyes and put our head in the sand when our people are suffering just because we are guarding the position of these people. Raila do not need to be in government. Raila is in his 80s now with a lot of wealth, isn't it? He does not need any favor. What is the comparison between Raila and a normal Luo? A normal Luo who cannot afford sabuni ya panga, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that person who cannot afford sabuni ya panga, who can't take a child to school, who cannot pay Panadol for painkillers, a Luo who cannot afford a medicine for arthritis, which is around 20 bob per day, who cannot afford diabetes, who cannot afford blood pressure, who dies just because their pressure went up and there's nothing they can do. But also diarrhea. Do you know, Alan, at this age, somebody is dying for diarrhea, which is preventable, by just drinking water.
Clean water.
Clean water. So simply, this is how we are dehumanizing ourselves and then pretending we are in government. That's what makes me sad. But nevertheless, Raila Odinga has done his contribution. Fantastically so. No one can take it away from him. But the only thing is that you cannot use your sunset days, hold the devil's hand and walk with him to your sunset. Normally, use your sunset days to make peace with God. A thief, as bad as a thief, on the cross, decided to abandon theft and stole what is most precious, heaven. So I'm asking Raila Odinga, can you use these sunset days to steal heaven so that your legacy that you built that your father started, the foundation, can someone again build on
it?
But if you do this, your kids will struggle to build on your foundation. Your father died with a legacy. People loved him when he was being buried. In Jaramogi's Odinga, people cried, even those people who never went there. For us, we were crying. Listening on radio, you cry. I cried about him listening on radio. Will people cry about you when they listen on radio? So the legacy you built cannot go down just because of your stomach, because I don't think that you can eat bigger ugali than you can afford now. Whatever food you want, you can only put on one shoe, you can only put on one suit, you can only drive one car, even if it's very good. The most expensive car, you buy it, you can afford it. But for now, stand with Kenya and stand where the truth is.
All right. That is where we're going to end it this morning. And Professor, thank you very much for making time for this conversation this morning. And I hope that our Mondays shall be blessed with such wisdom going forward. And of course, you can also invite your good friend, Professor Njiru, so that we can continue having these fruitful conversations. Dear viewer, that is all we've had for you this morning. Political Monday. I've been your host, Alan Herbert. Sign language interpreters have been Esther Kendi and Gideon Minor. Keep it Science TV, because subsequent programming is coming your way. News at 1 p.m., 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. as well as interesting programming. If you have any comments, keep them coming. And when we have the good professor next time, definitely we will be able to sample